By our clock.
By our clock.
Don't pay attention to the clock on the wall.
So we call the meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. We do have a quorum with Dr. Harrell and Ms. Kaminsky being absent. At this time, we will go through the action items for the agenda. Dr. Randall.
The first item is we're asking the board to approve the submittal of new course requests for the Career and Technology Education course Architecture 1 as a part of a dual credit crosswalk of credit at the Texas State Technical College here in Fort Bend County. The next item is that we ask the board to ratify the quarterly investment report as submitted for the quarter ending August 31.
Looks like we had actually a little increase in the interest rate.
Yes.
That helps.
Yes, every little bit helps.
Some of them almost double, wasn't it?
The next item is that we ask that the Board of Trustees ratify the financial and investment report as presented. The next item, we ask that the board consider approval of budget amendment request, and the budget amendment requests are listed for you. The next item is consider approval of resolution and order authorizing the reappraisal of property within Lamar CISD damaged by Hurricane Harvey.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, who's going to talk? I have some questions too.
I know that we dealt with this probably, only a year ago?
Yes.
But this time our area is a lot larger than it used to be, affecting some of different areas in our community. So what does that look like for us?
Well, actually, if you recall, the estimate of damage and the impact on our tax revenues was a lot larger for the tax day flood than it is this time.
So it was about $4 million last time, right?
And so I had the same question. Why is it actually projected to be so much less this
Right.
time? And it's because I asked Glenn Whitehead, our chief appraiser, that question, and his response was that since we've been through this before, he can apply a factor estimating how many people really will file the paperwork and do everything required for the reappraisal, and then what the impact will be. So he feels like it's actually a better estimate this time.
Oh, okay, that's why.
Did we not have everybody do it last time? Is that
He helped us with it last time too, but he didn't really have a whole lot of experience.
But a lot of people
with it
did
to
not
do that.
put in for the
Correct.
paperwork.
A lot of people did not fill out the paperwork.
And it's only for the last quarter of the year, right?
It's
From the event.
From the event.
it's like a weighted average value that they're going to use to compute the taxes on. 65% of the year on the original value and 35% of the year on the reappraised value. So the combination of those two is the value they're going to use.
Okay.
Real quick question, this $100,000 for the reappraisal cost, is that our portion of it, or is that the total amount?
That's our
That's
portion.
our portion?
Yes.
Estimated to be that? All right, thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions on that one?
So I guess that means that we have to pay for,
The appraisal
the
district
reappraisal.
services, yes.
thank you.
The next item is that the board approve the attached resolution proclaiming November 13th through 17th as Parent Involvement Week. The next item is we ask that the board approve deductive change order number 1 in the amount of $86,877 and a final payment of $162,966.65 to Dramala Construction Company for the construction of Lindsay Elementary, and authorize the board president to execute the change order. The next item, we ask the board to approve Environmental Solutions, Inc. for environmental inspection services at Bentley Elementary School in the total amount of $555. and authorize a check to be issued. Next item, we ask the board to approve change order number 1 in the amount of $212,177 to Contract with Turner Construction Company for construction of additional parking at George Ranch High School. Adjust the project budget as necessary and authorize the board president to execute the change order document.
I have a question about that. I'm not quite sure I understand. $212,000, is that only because of the additional parking?
Yes.
All of that goes towards the additional parking?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
There's about 52 additional parking spaces that this would provide.
And I guess this isn't a part of the original construction budget, correct?
That's correct.
This is a change order?
Is this the parking that was kind of going to be near the natatorium that,
Yeah, when the natatorium was built, there were, we lost 59, pardon me, we added 59 spaces in the front, in that front zone between the street and the school. But we lost 41 spaces of student parking in the back. So we have a net gain base bid of 18 additional parking spaces. With the growth in that school and, you know, the pressure on parking, this is a proposal to add another 52 spaces out in front. So we're basically matching the entire width of the front parking in that front space. So it's a good location to have it, but it is a relief for the growth in that school.
will this be more student parking or,
It could be
because the
either.
student parking's in the back right now, correct?
Yeah.
Well, right now, the student parking, it's in the back. They've allotted spaces in the front parking lot, and then they have over at Reading 45 available spots, and they've sold 30 of those.
And I completely understand the need for
Yeah.
the parking. That's not what I'm questioning. I guess I'm concerned more about and this is on us, not you guys, but did we anticipate this happening when we decided on this location? Or is it because of the overcrowding at the school that it's necessary? I guess that's where I'm trying to figure out. Are we going to run into this problem, I guess, at Foster, Fulsher, and some of the others where we're all of a sudden looking at an additional $1 million for additional parking at all of those different locations? Or is this exclusive because right now we're at such a high population at George Ranch?
I think it's a combination of both. If you, the Foster campus has historically been full. They've run short had a waiting list for parking spaces, and that's been for a few years. And there's the space that has been discussed at various times about adding additional parking out to Foster. So it's been discussed out at Foster. Fulsher, about the same number of parking spaces as George Ranch. Whether Fulsher gets to the enrollment that George Ranch does remains to be seen. However, with George Ranch, with that complex, right now, if you look at the available spaces that we have, we ran the numbers to see what's available. Right now, for the rest of the school year, there's 30 remaining student parking spaces available for purchase. And if you look at the breakdown right now, we have 344 seniors, 52% of the seniors, 36% of the juniors, and 2% of the sophomores. 10 sophomores have a parking space.
Right, and then
So-
some of them, sophomores, a lot of them will be turning 16 this year.
Yes, and that's been the primary question the campus has been fielding, like, is there going to be a space available? To do this, to accommodate more parking spaces, they took down the number of available spaces, like during the school day, for visitors and for things like that. So right now, they have a total of, for visitors and subs, a total of 29 designated spaces. And on any given day, the campus could exceed 25 to 30 subs.
Right.
So there's a demand out there.
One of the things, if you remember, as part of the bond issue, the space that's north, I guess, of the auditorium, the grassy area, that has
At George
been...
Ranch.
No, at Foster.
At Foster, oh, sorry.
That has been proposed to take and convert that into parking because we have some of the same challenges at Foster that we've had, especially when the numbers get up.
So hopefully the bond would take care of that and we're not really facing, I think my and I can say this on Thursday instead, but I think my point is that if we're foreseeing this being an issue at each of the schools, as a board, I think we need to probably prepare for that as we move forward at some point. But if it's in a bond issue, then obviously, then that would be different.
And there,
Because where,
36%. We have 247 juniors out of, that's the largest class right now. George Ranch, 682 are in that class, and 36% have a parking.
and correct me, that the natatorium took up some spaces?
Yes, it did. It took,
41.
in the back, the student parking, where they pushed that fencing out, it took about, what was it, about 4 rows, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
41 spaces were lost in the back student parking.
And so they brought around to the front parking, they made available in the front parking lot 79 spaces to accommodate students, an additional 45 over at Reading to try to offset that.
Is the construction vehicles, or is that also taking up some of the parking space, or are y'all off somewhere
They've been
away
inside
from
the
the student
fence.
Yeah,
parking?
there's some of the fence,
There's 2
the
rows.
student parking taken up
So
right
that
now.
will
That
come back after the construction's over, correct?
where's this money coming from? Where are we taking it?
It would still be bond money. It would just be in addition to change notice to that, the amount we had allocated for that natatorium.
From 2014 bond?
Yes, ma'am.
When we pass our 2017 bond, and
Look, Ms. Proctor.
we relieve the crowding at George Ranch, won't we have extra spaces then? Are we proposing a long-term solution to the short-term problem?
Well, I think the addition of the 50 or so spaces would be well utilized, especially with the location of it in front of the natatorium. I mean,
Yep, I've been out there doing my own snooping, and I'm having trouble rationalizing some of this, because you go over in front of Reading Junior High. I've been out there 2 days, and I find that there are 75 empty spaces one day and 65 another day, and that gym, and I know they use that gym parking lot for get out, they do gym classes, stuff out there. But there are 50 spaces sitting out there that are totally empty most of the days. If you stroll down the way in about 100 yards, you go down to Polly Ryan, there are 49 empty spaces out front and 42 empty spaces in back, roughly each of the 2 days I've been down there. And I just, so my question is, have we really looked at this in the allocation of the space that we have?
are you speaking to the parking spaces that are behind the gym, that you would enter the gym?
Yes,
During the instructional day, they don't park back there.
I understand that, but I've been out there 2 days, and I saw a PE class out there one day. We still also have that huge area behind there that's laid out like the field, where they have a PE class out there, but there's people spread out all over that lot. If I've got a choice of spending $212,000 or scooting those kids to another lot and having 50 spaces there, or even if we use part of them parked along the perimeter of it. So I'm having trouble swallowing $212,000 when I see that much concrete, so.
What do they do with that space besides just PE?
You're talking about the parking lot that's directly
Directly.
accesses the gym
Gym
at
at
Reading and
Reading.
at Polly Ryan. That's the bus loading zones. And wherever the buses come in and out throughout if they do come through the days, that's where they come. And then they use that space for any type of outdoor activity. Polly Ryan, I use them as an example, they do a lot of outdoor activities, CTE, exploratory things. They'll use that space out back for that.
But Polly Ryan, they have that space right behind the school there too. There's an area.
When you
at
go
the-
right
at
out
the
from
front
their
of the parking lot,
cafeteria.
You know, between the parking area and the school. They have classes out there as well, so.
That is a high traffic area with kids, people on foot.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Next item is that we ask the board to approve W.W. Payton Corporation for the Foster High School water plant upgrades in the amount of $560,000. The next item, we ask the Board of Trustees to approve the design development for Roberts Middle School as presented by PBK Architects, and we'll have a presentation.
Good evening. I'd like to introduce Lauren Powergood from PBK Architects. He's going to present the Roberts Middle School design development. You should have a book in front of you and be able to answer any questions you might have. So,
Good evening, Mr. Steenbergen, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Randall. Here tonight to present James W. Roberts Middle School number 5 on the Fulshire site. Ms. Roberts, I know this has to be very exciting for you and your husband. And your father-in-law, he did come to a couple of the meetings at Fulshire High School, so we'd be very welcome to see him again. We're going to take you through this real quickly. Again, these were some of the acknowledgments to some of the people who helped us along the way to going through the design development of this project. Ms. Hack, Paul Gutowski, Ms. Patterson at Polly Ryan, and Sonia Sanzo at Wertheimer, Ram Estrada, and Steve Hoyt and Dean Lanuke. Where are we now? We're here tonight to present this project to you and just take you through it real quickly. This is the Fulshire High School site. So this is Charger Way, formerly known as Bodark. This is FM 1093. So if you come north on Bodark, our site is the very first site you'll get to after you pass the wonderful detention pond. Moving on down the site, we got our practice pool that's currently under construction. Fulshire High School and Dean Lehman Junior High School. Just a blow up of it, just to show you some of the circulation paths and how the site is going to flow. Again, you're coming north on Bodark. This drive here is an existing drive that will take you to the back of the site, but this is where most of our bus traffic will come through, or here. Most of the bus traffic is coming off 1093 into this drive that comes off of 1093 back here. Your parents will come into the site here, and we provided about 1,600 lineal feet of stacking. That's to make sure that we get all the people off the street and keep traffic flowing down Bodark. You can either, if you're a parent or a teacher that's trying to get into this parking lot, there's an access that allows you to enter here and exit on the other end. If you're a parent dropping a student off, you just follow this drive all the way down. This drive is also existing. So what we've done is created a linear path that if you have a child going from middle school to high school, you don't have to go back to Bodark and come back down. It just allows you an accessible route all the way down this drive here. At this time, the practice pool is under construction, so by the time if we choose to proceed with this and if it's approved on Thursday night, we will have 2 sites under construction at the same time on this site. Bus loop, again, is back here. We also have a special needs bus loop along this side of the school to allow special needs students to exit the bus and go directly into a hallway. And actually, the special needs classrooms are all right here. Just a brief overview of the plan. Here's your main entry to the school. Your administration area is immediately to the right. We have allowed a push-button access, so once parents go in or a visitor comes to the school, they walk in, they check in, they have to be buzzed in to actually enter into the school. So there's a security vestibule there. To the immediate left is your library, and we've allowed access into your library from the vestibule in case you have an event after hours and you don't want people going through the school. They can come in, go through the vestibule, and there's a door that allows them entry into the library. This is your main corridor. If I'll take you back to this plan right quick. So what we've done also is if you stand at this corridor and you look straight down, you would be aligned, all the main streets are aligned all the way down from the middle school to the high school to the junior high school. So along this central spine, you come down, these are your fine arts areas and your common area, your drama, gymnasium, all your noisy areas are on this end of the school, along with your service yard, kitchen, and your classroom pod is all over here. So every last one of these spaces are classrooms, which are science classrooms in the core of your school. Just some of the renderings. We picked up the same architecture that we used at Fulshire and at Lehman. You have your brick, your limestone entry, your standing seam metal roof, and your metal wall panels. The color will be the exact same from the brick to the metal wall panels to the roof. Just another exterior shot, 3D elevation. This shot is just a shot that shows the middle school here, along with the practice pool. You can see it here in the background, and this is your high school behind it. So it just shows you that the architecture is picked up between every building that's on that site. Just an interior image of the library. If you go to Fulshire High School and you go down the Main Street corridor, all your beams across your Main Street, they're clad in a P-lam to mimic the casework that's also in the school. So we kind of picked that feature up into the library with the fur downs, and you'll see the same thing down the Main Street of this school. Again, I pointed out this entry here. This will be the entry off the vestibule that allows you entry right into your library after hours. And this will be the main entry during school hours for children. Just another shot looking the opposite way. This is where the projection screen is. And I failed to mention, this is a modified repeat of Polly Ryan. So the floor plans are very similar. There have been some changes during design development when we met with Ms. Patterson and Ms. Sanzo. So some of those changes have been incorporated. One thing I did fail to mention as well, when the bond passes, Mr. Steenbergen, we have a orchestra room that we've incorporated into this. So right now we're showing this as an alternate. When the bond passes, this will be a feature that will be incorporated into this facility. Again, we're here we present it tonight. If this passes on Thursday and we push through, then we release for construction documents December 11th. We bid in February, bring it back to the board for February for approval of construction, and we'd be looking to start construction in March and be substantially complete by June of 2019. And again, our total bond allocation for the project is roughly $22.3 million. That's it. Any comments, questions? Yes,
I have
ma'am.
a question. When the bond passes and that orchestra area is included, is that included from the very beginning, or do we have to wait on bond money to sit? Do we know?
Well,
So the bond will be new.
Well, it's allocated in the other bond issue, and the only other way that we could possibly get something like that done is that if, for some reason, that project came in well under bid, I would say.
So I guess,
So the bond has to pass right now in order to get the orchestra.
Be assured you'll have.
when the bond passes,
when-
it
When the
can
bond
be
passes.
put
Yes,
initially into the plan?
yes,
Oh, okay.
that's what
That's
he's
what my
talking about,
question
yes.
But
Okay. Unlike the others that we have to go back and add, because there's so much more cost in the additions rather than.
That's correct.
will that be just a purpose room, or that just won't be there at all if we should go that route?
If we don't go that route, then you won't see that.
You won't see it.
piece
You
of
won't
the
see
building. Yes,
anything
ma'am.
on there? Okay.
So
that
this
just
would be our
falls off the
determination
map.
point. Correct.
Gotcha.
On that picture, I have a question. What is all that space between the, I think what, maybe the gymnasium between, and the classrooms? You see that?
Here?
empty-
Right there.
Yes.
That's exterior space, so it's
Okay.
outdoor.
That's just outdoor.
Courtyard. I
Courtyard.
think sometimes they, at Polly Ryan, there's actually a sidewalk circular that's sitting back there, and I think they put benches out there
Oh,
where
okay.
kids can go out for lunch.
I got it.
Kind of an overflow for lunch, if you will.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
22.3
.3.
million?
Yes, sir.
What was the cost of Polly Ryan? Since these are school, right?
Construction budget on Polly Ryan, if I recall correctly, was about $13 million. And it was constructed in 2011.
6 years later.
Yeah, the 22.3 is total project costs.
Correct.
Compared to the direct construction costs that he was referring to, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is that the board approved design development for Culver Elementary School, and that's
he's right
being
there.
presented this evening by BLK.
I'd like to introduce Tom Lane and Taylor Alford to present the new Culver Elementary School.
Thank you, Steve. Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Randall, thank you very much for allowing us to do another facility for you all. This is the second of the new elementary design. As you know, Don Carter is currently under construction. We've worked with the administration and staff and VRG to work through and present any modifications that were wanted after that one was put out to bid, and any things that we're looking at now. If I can introduce Taylor Alford, who is the designer of the project, I'll let him present it as well. And we also have Rudy Starks, who's a project architect on it tonight. So I'll let Taylor go ahead.
Good evening. As Todd mentioned, we're going to go over the newest prototype that we have in the district. It's a prototype of Don Carter Elementary School, which, like Todd said, is under construction. Again, coming back, joining teams with LCSD, a lot of the same members that we had from the design team on Carter, we had as well in Culver, and some basic acknowledgments between the administration, VLK Architects, Van and Rice Gardner. A quick summary of the project, again, with it being a prototype, jumping back to how this kind of came to fruition. Started with a design charrette process. What that is gathering teachers, administrators, local community members, getting them together, coming up with design concepts, essentially laying the framework for the prototype to be. We then went back, designed that, developed it, and came forward with that prototype. So again, building off of that, this jumps on a lot of the same issues we looked at. Again, engaging, we really wanted to engage curriculum with the school, make it dynamic spaces, really enhance natural lighting throughout the building, meet code, new lighting, everything LED, just very vibrant spaces within the school. Going back to that essential charrette concept, you guys can see kind of where we came from. Some initial sketches that we did back, again, last year, some sketches, some renderings, and to the left you can kind of see the plan that came together from that design charrette. And what you're looking at, a fairly symmetric school, broken down to classroom pods. You have kindergarten, or pre-K kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Down the middle of the school, you see the media center, essentially acting as the heart of the building. We, again, continued to develop that concept throughout the process. And on the top side, you see the gymnasium and the cafetorium. So we jump forward. Here with Culver, looking at an overview of a site plan, you see kind of the white line running through, that's 59, running from, to the south as you go right to left. On the top, number 1, you see that's the town of Rosenberg, with an E, not a U.
It's spelled Rosenberg.
Number 2, Don Carter, you see to the bottom right down there, which is under development as we speak. Number 3, down to the left, you can see Thomas Culver. So that's actually in the town of Pleak, just south of 59. And if we zoom into that a little further, to the right side, number 2, you can see down, that's Highway 36 to kind of familiarize you with that. And just to the west of that, this is the development of Briarwood Crossing. So it's really undeveloped right now. It's probably about a quarter of the way built. The main drive that comes in and that big, large red circle is essentially where this site will be developed. We jump in even further scale to that. And again, essentially everything from this right side here over, this is all undeveloped. So right now the neighborhood essentially stops here and stops on the top. This site plan, we came to development, we looked at a ton of different options for it. We really wanted to showcase the school, and essentially what we mean by that is these 3 sides here, the play fields that come out of these wings, the main entry here, another play area adjacent to this street, and then your bus loop and your bus parking in the back. And kind of how that flows is when you come in off the main street here, which is Briarwood Crossing, you come in, you have your vehicle stacking, really wanted to make an effort to get all of that off the street. The parents can come double stack around this loop, come back in, they pick up at the main entry here, then they're on their way out of the school. A lot went into, kind of planning this out, and we really wanted to pay attention to pedestrian circulation. A lot of students, as they develop this school, are going to be coming from all directions. So it's really important to, figure out how we get them to the school safely without having to cross too many intersections. As you guys know, these schools don't have a ton of crossing guards. Usually it's one spot. So again, we really wanted to play with that circulation, be able to get the kids from these sides of the neighborhoods to the school safely. And by doing that, again, separating the parent drop on the west side of the site to the bus loop on the east, and really separating those drives. And by doing that, essentially creating pockets of play areas on both sides of the school. And what that really does is now when students come out of their wings, they're not crossing bus loops or crossing parent drives to get to their play areas. These essentially become landlocked in, and they become very useful to the teachers and to the students. Jumping into the plan itself, again, we talked about the symmetry of the plan, this pod concept we developed. And if you look to the top, this orange block is the admin. This is the main entry here in our secure vestibule. So as you came in, this becomes your main corridor through the space. Off of that, again, pre-KK, first, second, then third, fourth, and fifth. And a lot of that hierarchy was developed based on testing, based on how far the students needed to be from the admin. And then from that, down the center of this school, you see this yellow space. This is what we call the heart of the school, or the media center, with kind of all the functions coming from that. There's an LGI, there's a Kiva space for dynamic learning. You have your special programs down here in the purple, and it kind of terminated back down on the bottom side with your kitchen, your cafeteria, your gymnasium, and then your fine arts area over here. Another thing in developing this plan that we developed was that dialogue with the perimeter, with the outside of the space. So in between these areas, we've developed these learning courtyards. And off of that, in each side of these pod wings we have, which in this turquoise area, is essentially a dynamic learning collaboration space that has access to that outdoor area. And what we've done out there, and you'll see in the image later, we've created actually a learning space, a teaching wall, a covered area for the students, and a way for the kids to get outside, engage the space, and still continue that curriculum outside the classroom. This is essentially zoomed in on one of those pods that I'm focusing on. So when you enter these pods here, it's essentially a pod of 6 classrooms with a collaboration space. And these classrooms are kind of staggered, creating some dynamic spaces within the main corridor. You have your collaboration space here in your outdoor area. And what these dots really represent is different types of learning that we can do. To the top right, you see essentially your static classroom, your testing classroom. You have small group classrooms. You have intermediate size. You have one-on-one learning that can happen in the corridor. Then you have large group as well, where several classrooms could come out into this collaboration space, do group learning, movies, speakers, things like that. And then again, all of that with a relationship to the exterior. Coming through those, again, this becomes the shared outdoor space. So these walls here are the perimeter walls. Then this becomes a covered space within here, and then the connection to the outside. So all these are secure with gates. There's not access for anyone to come out and come into these. These are secure courtyards with gates. Low maintenance, a lot of paving back here. There are student planners that was very important to the curriculum. The teachers create lesson plans. On the left wall here, there's actually we actually did back painted glass here. A very cheap solution, a very maintenance-free solution for the teachers to have the space and again to create their lesson plans out here. Stepping back, start talking about the imagery of the school. One of the big things we wanted to look at was the context of where we're putting this school. Briarwood is a master plan community, so we spent some time with the LCISD design team, really investigating those materials, coming up with cost-effective solutions to that, and really creating a school that fits into the environment. It is a prototype, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we try and give each prototype its own character without changing the engineering or the cost of the school. So what you're looking at here is essentially the bus loop standing from the front of the parking lot. Again, these symmetric wings that you have coming out either side, some stone, brick, some metal panel just to kind of highlight these windows. You have a long extended canopy that students can actually come out and stack under this, and parents can start to drop them off and pick up. It's prevents weather. The main entry here, again, feeding out, so you can start to really queue up a lot of students based on how that particular school might want to do their parent drop. Parents pick up here, and then they're on their way. Some of the materials you're looking at, again, this main admin suite here, a lot of natural light, again, some stone, some very subtle brick details, and some the metal panels in between the windows. Very, very minimal materials, but again, creating rhythms and kind of creating a facade that you can start to see your classrooms, your dynamic spaces, and we zoom in, you can kind of see that some more, really highlighting that main entry. Large natural glass, this goes into the admin suite, and what that does now is actually create a lot of transparency for these administrators to actually view out onto the parent loop. So as the teachers are out here with their students, there's a lot of visibility back into the admin suite, which was very important to the team. This is a sketch of those exterior classroom spaces. So essentially these wings that face each other on either side have a covered area out here. Again, it's just an aluminum canopy that provides a nice shade out here. Out here, we're just doing paint on this ground, paint or even chalk. Becomes very flexible and versatile for the teachers to outline different lesson plans. On the wall to the left, again, you see this teaching wall that we've created. So this becomes a very usable space. Anything they can teach essentially in that classroom, they can bring out. They have their laptops, there's Wi-Fi connections out there. Out here on the farther side, you have planters This became very, non-grade specific. We wanted the kids, in each grade level to have connection to the outdoors, come out, plan. Everything's very low maintenance. And again, just really wanted to focus on the extension of the curriculum to the exterior. This is a shot, a sketch coming inside the main quarter of the space. And again, we talk about the heart of the school. This is just big double volume library space that's very transparent, glass on both sides. And in that area, you can see the roof kind of pops up. And along that, we allow a lot of natural light in with clear story windows. We play with some simple materials here that relate back. We really want to create a fun, playful environment, a dynamic space for the students. We're coming in with some truss where you can see above, kind of showing off the structure of the building. You can start to see the school as a learning tool. We have some vinyl graphics that we can play with and really bring some color to the space. And as you proceed down that, these are views into those pods that we discussed. So this is kind of looking back to that exterior exit out the pod, and you start to see the kind of the color and the light as we play with these. At Carter, we did a pod specific color scheme for wayfinding aspects. The color here, we'll continue to develop that, but it'll be along the same theme. And you can see it kind of leads into that collaboration space to the left with your classrooms lined up and down. Each pod has a restroom, faculty restrooms, pod storage, print stations. And further progressing into that pod, this is kind of viewing over to that collaboration space. There's a marker wall here that's magnetic for all kinds of displays. There's that connection to the outdoor we discussed. And then furthermore, it's just a playful, fun environment for breakout learning and different events that happen out in these corridors and beyond the classrooms. Again, this one being the prototype of of Carter, it's actually on the same bond budget of $24,954,404. We're at budget now. And kind of the next step. So we're here with design development. We will come back in February with bid and board approval, with the hopes to start construction March 18th with a target date of the school opening August 2019. Any questions?
I guess my question is, since we're building this one before we've actually gotten into Carter,
Yes, ma'am.
have we found anything that we've had to change about Culver? Because, usually you want to live somewhere before
Right. No, that's a great question. One of the things we did come across during the development and in between the two, it's working closely with the maintenance team at Carter. And when you start construction, you go through the process, you figure things out immediately. So there were a few things we were able to actually get back on Carter that really help you guys out from a maintenance standpoint, and we further carried that to Culver. With that being said, we don't have end users in the classrooms.
Right.
So that is difficult, but we feel we've done a great job teaming up with different administrators within the district
Okay.
to really get their feedback and try to aim this in the right direction.
Okay.
We're kind of blaming.
Number of classrooms in Carter and Culver, are they the same?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Programs will be exactly the same.
What's the estimated capacity?
750.
No questions? Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The next item is the design development for the Fulshire High School shelf space. Do you have any?
We're busy people.
And again, I'd like to introduce Lauren Pargood from PBK Architects.
Sir. Mr. Steenjurgen, board members, and Dr. Randall, thank you again. Going to visit the same site, Fulshire site. Right now, what we're doing, again, thanks to Mr. McKeever, Ms. Hack, Daniel Ward, the principal of Fulshire, Steve Hoyt, and Dan Luca Vanner Rice Gardner for their input on this one. Where are we now? Design development presentation again to the Board of Trustees. Architectural drawings. This one's very, very simple. So at Fulshire High School, we have a total of 12 classrooms on the first floor and a total of 6 classrooms and 4 science labs and a prep room for the science labs on the second floor. So what we're going to do is just go in and basically do an interior build out of these shell spaces, as we call them. So right now, this is a typical classroom that's typical of every classroom that's in this building. You have your smart panel now, marker boards and casework. So what we'll do now is go in and install all the finishes, the ceiling tiles, the lights, the fire alarms and everything, some of the main mechanical The main mechanical systems are all in place, the ductwork is in place, so now we just tap off of that ductwork to provide HVAC to those classrooms, connect them to the BAS and things like that. So pretty much, again, this school is done for the exception of these 18 classrooms and 4 science labs. So that was just an overview of your first floor. So if you come in, this is your main entry. So your immediate right over here, we have 6 classrooms, and to the left, we have 6 classrooms. They'll be set up the exact same. Again, that's just the blow up of 6 other classrooms. This is your second floor, and your main entry would be here. These would be the 4 science labs, along with the prep room in the center, and 6 more classrooms to the left of the school. This would be a blow up of your classrooms. We have them labeled as physics, so they'd have your safety showers, your fire blankets, your goggle cabinets, etc., things like that. Project schedule, again, this one is pretty much on the same schedule as Roberts Middle School, for the exception of construction. Construction will be a lot shorter on this one. We release for construction proposals December 11th, bid it February 15th. Notice to proceed will go in February 15th if the board chooses to proceed with this one. No, excuse me, move too fast here. We start construction in March of 2018, and it will be a summer project, so the duration of this project would only be 3 months. So we start in March 2018 and be completed in June of 2018, not 19.
Okay,
Sorry
so
about
I was
that.
saying, this looked like a year and a half.
Yes, that is. So that will be June of 2018 and not 19.
Okay. So we're trying to get it ready before,
School starts for the 2018 school year. That's right.
okay, but that's when all 4 grades will be.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's to get all 4 grades in there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I got a quick philosophical question here. We're doing this build out, considering the time value of money, and this is a $1.5 million project, and what you have to do to go back in and redo this. Is that still the best philosophy, the most cost-effective way to do this? Or next time around, should we be doing it all at one time? Does it cost us more to remobilize, get back in there and do this stuff? And then there will still be some classes in session here.
Correct.
So just a philosophical question. Is this still the right way to do it the next time we have to do this, or should we?
It's a choice you can make. At the time, when you're planning the new high school, we would probably plan to build out those in the new high school in the bond issue, but we do it as an alternate so that you have the budget flexibility. It would be cheaper to build while the contractor is on site doing that work simultaneously. Cost of money, yes, you're exactly right.
I was trying to process that. If we've already sold the bond and we're paying money back on that, if we haven't used it, we're earning less than 1% on $1.5 million sitting there. If we haven't sold, that money, so I don't know the timing on all of that, but it was just one of those engineering puzzles.
Yeah, it's a choice, and we provide that flexibility at the time we plan the project.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Do we have any idea what the difference in the cost, something like that would be? I know that, for example, $200 a square foot versus $500 a square foot when we're adding.
Yeah.
But what is it when we're finishing out? Do we know?
I don't know what the exact premium would be, but it'd probably be in the 10 to 15% would be my guess.
Increase?
Yeah. The good thing is you have, as Lauren said, you have all the utilities, all the ductwork, all the mechanical systems, all the plumbing systems all roughed in.
Right.
It's a very quick, fast process to do that. We do intend to start a little bit before school is out, so that we make sure that there's enough time for mobilization, getting the thing ready, and then have the summer to finish up. So,
What is the savings for doing it this way? Is it the utilities? Is it just because we're not utilizing that space?
Time value money.
it's,
I mean, because,
savings-wise, this project is where it is right now. Those spaces have not been constructed based on the previous bond issue. So it was added into the 2014 bond issue as a plan. So that decision has already been made.
right,
So going forward, you have a choice on the 2017 bond project to look and decide how we go forward. If we can build it all at the same time, I think it'd be the cheaper way to go. But there's a lot of time in between now and when that project is ready to bid. So we have to plan for that option. I understand I believe that's how George Ranch was done as well.
Correct. And Foster.
And Foster, so,
Okay,
but we will let you have that
all right,
choice.
thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
The next item is approve facility sources for the repairs due to water damage and additional data and marker boards at Pink Elementary School in the amount of $11,345. The next item is approve the 2017-2018 appraisers who have recently become certified and are new to Lamar Consolidated ISD, and we have 4 of those.
Before we get into the information items, do we have any audience patrons on the action items?
There are none.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Randall?
Are there any questions regarding any of the information items? We will have
The whole.
a Holsworth presentation on Thursday.
The attendance boundary committee, is that for Carter Elementary?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And it's the school's, the SCORE program. Most of you are familiar with that program, and that's where we actually get a rebate back from Centerpoint in the amount this year of $65,451.36.
Very good. Any other questions from the board? I don't believe we have any items for closed session. We will call this meeting adjourned at 7:16. Thank you very much.